We're on. We're good. It's going. Yay! Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time you're watching this after the fact, because nobody watches the live stream when it's live. So if you're watching this on Facebook after the fact, sorry. But you know I love you all. I love everybody who watches live streams. My name is Mark. I'll be your live stream presenter today. Welcome to the latest episode 71, I think, something. I don't know. It's something. It's up there of the latest SilviaFindings live stream event we do every Wednesday morning from 10:30 a.m. Pacific time till we're done. We do a little bit every week. We've been cataloging. You know this, right? If you are watching this, how you doing, by the way? Everything's good? You all good? I'm all good. I'm all good. Good. Glad to. Yeah, everybody's doing okay. Yeah. We've been cataloging all of our products over the past year, more than a year. I've been doing this for more than a year every week since the pandemic broke out, which I guess is more than a year ago, but yeah, we've been having fun. We started with the pendants, you know, all the rings are all thing, and we did all earrings. Now we're working on bales, and we're almost through bales. I think I've only got a couple, like maybe 5 weeks, 5-6 weeks of bales left to go. And then I think that's pretty much it. I think we've done pretty much everything. I don't know what we'll do next. Might be pointless to do chains, right? Can't get close enough to see the chains. Well, I'll do something. We'll figure out something. Maybe we'll have a little more, I don't know, a little more informational exchange going on. But anyway, we're continuing along with bales this week. I don't really have any preamble thing, you guys. If you've ever seen any live stream event before, you know that I have issues with Canada Post, and those are always ongoing. I will say one thing though. Okay, we're recording this with 3rd of November 2021, so if you have been watching the news at all, you've been hearing all the doom and gloom about the supply chain is breaking down and the logistics chain is broken, and you know the shelves are going to be bare for Christmas, and stock up on oatmeal and water, and I don't know, whatever. Now, I don't buy into the doom and gloom. Good morning, Bobby. Nice to see you here. So I don't buy into the doom and gloom about, you know, the shelves will be empty at Christmas and stuff. You know, I mean, that's propaganda. That's, you know, I feel like a lot of the motivation behind that doom and gloom is politically motivated, you know. And I'm not going to get into that. But I don't share that doom and gloom about the thing. There are logistics issues, which happens during a global pandemic. It's going to happen. But I don't think it's as bad as people are thinking. And I think that eventually it's going to start, you know, getting better again. We're literally at the tail end of figuring out how to live in a we're not quite post-COVID world, but we're deeply into the, you know, the COVID world. People are getting their boosters, or sane people are getting their boosters when they can get them, or you know, getting their vaccinations when they can. And I think eventually it'll, you know, start getting better. But in the meantime, these issues have happened where I know that a lot of people don't realize this, but probably just a little less than half of all the air cargo that goes around the world is in the belly of commercial airlines, commercial flights. If you've ever watched them load a plane, you know, where they, you know, they're throwing your luggage on the one side, but on the other side, they have these huge, you know, containers that are kind of the shape of the bulkhead, right? You've seen them. I know you've seen them, but you just didn't clock what they were. But if you've ever sat on a plane watching the cargo, you know, stuff go back and forth, that's what it is, you know. So companies like FedEx or DHL or you know, any little small companies, they'll buy space in these little containers that will go into the plane, and they'll go. I know every time you see a FedEx commercial or a DHL ad or something, you always see the DHL plane taking off or the FedEx plane. And FedEx have a pretty big fleet of airplanes, but they don't have enough to cover 100% of their freight. It just wouldn't make sense financially for them to do that, and certainly DHL don't as well, kind of thing. So a lot of their freight, like I said, just under half of the air freight, air cargo, goes on to commercial flights. Now, the problem with a global pandemic is that commercial flights are much decreased, right? So there's way fewer commercial planes going back and forth. So there's tons of air cargo that gets backed up. You know, I mean, they're doing it as fast as they can, and they're bringing it as fast as they can. But we shipments from our factory, they leave the factory and they make their way to Hong Kong, and then from Hong Kong they get on a plane, and then they come here. So, you know, we'll ship stuff to ourselves, you know, from the factory, and it'll get to Hong Kong in a day or two. But then it'll sit there for like a week, two. I think the one that we're just getting a shipment in now, that was sitting for 12 days. So, yeah, it's tight. It's I think, but it's getting better. My point is, it's going to be really bad, I think, over Christmas. But then, you know, because there's a lot more freight coming through, kind of thing. And I think that wholesale suppliers are beginning to, or I mean, they long figured out that this is going to be a problem, and they're, you know, they're getting more stuff by air freight. They're thing, you know, with sea containers. You have another problem where there's tons of shipments coming in, but there aren't enough containers going the other direction. So you end up with container ships full of empty containers, just bringing them back across, and that just slows everything down. So anyway, neither here nor there. Logistics is it's a prickly business, and it's a weird business. And a lot of things that you don't think will be an issue become an issue. So I don't know what my point was all that. Oh, just you know, if you're planning on, I guess if you're planning on getting anything custom for Christmas, you better be ordering it now, soon, because otherwise it'll be too late and you won't get it for Christmas. So just so you know. Okay, so enough of me caterwauling about the state of shipping across the world. Let's just move on to bales. Today we're doing a tray. When I say a tray, I mean, you know, a tray, right? If you've ever seen us at shows, you know, we have these little trays that have all the products inside, and you can come and shop. Today we're continuing with bales. All of the bales in this tray, looks like, yeah, everyone is a cup and peg bale, and that's just basically, you know, the kind of a bale that has a, well, you'll see when I do a close-up on the other side. It just has a cup and a peg that you would glue a pearl or a stone, half-drilled stone, or you can drill whatever you want and glue it onto there. A couple of notes before we get started on these things. The peg, you know, sometimes it'll look like it's ridiculously long, and yeah, it's meant to be, because you could put a ridiculously big pearl or something on there. You know, you can cut those down. You know, once you own the thing, you can do whatever you want to it. So generally, you know, you can gauge how deep the hole is in a piece by putting a head pin through and then putting your fingernail up against the end and pulling it out, and then whatever the distance is, you know, past your thumbnail is how deep the hole is. And you can cut the peg down so it's a little bit shorter than that. So there's a little bit of a gap between the end of the post and the end of the hole in your pearl. Or stone, or, you know, I just say pearls because to me these are all pearly kind of things. But again, you can glue whatever you want to it. Use a good 2-part epoxy, the kind that dries clear. I don't know if I should say this. Probably dangerous. No, whatever. A good 2-part epoxy adhesive works good. I have used just a regular epoxy, two-part epoxy, you know, the kind that for epoxy resin, right? You can use that as an adhesive. I have had luck using that. You know, I don't know how much better an adhesive epoxy is than the regular epoxy, the kind that dries clear that people use for all kinds of commemoration jewelry. And you know, they make those cabochons with you know, your dog's hair or your grandmother's ashes or breast milk or whatever. You know, those companies are all over the place now. Everybody's doing it, and I don't want to entertain thoughts about why that commemoration jewelry is becoming so popular these days. Although we have a bunch of lines of new products, you know, rings and pendants and things with all the the bezel cups in them, so you could just pour directly into the ring and boom, have it. But that's neither here. I don't want to entertain thoughts about why that's so popular these days. You know, it's because every thought when I work it through in my head ends up being very morbid. You know, like okay, so many people are dead now because of COVID that you know, just weird morbid thoughts like that. I'm just not going to go there, even though I went there. I said I wasn't going to, and I did. Let's move on to the bales, because at this point, yeah, okay, I can do this. It goes the other way. Our first item is kind of like the most basic version of this kind of a thing. LJ 681 with a retail price of $1.77 and a wholesale price of $1.12 per piece. And this is just a standard, you know, triangle bale with a little loop and a cap and a peg on there. That little cap is very small, probably, you know, 3 millimeters, maybe 4 millimeters tall, you know, or wide, I should say. And that just glues right into whatever. I don't know, not much to say about it. Here we have a way more ornate one, MTP 893, MTP 893 with, no, 693 with a retail price of $17.33 and a wholesale price of $10.83. And this is a lovely feather, right, with a loop and that cup and peg from the bottom, and the bale is on the back of that feather, right? Simple, very simple. Lovely antique silver feather, very cute. It's kind of a winner. You can't go wrong with that. Here's another one, very similar in vein to that. LJ 723 with a retail price of $10.22 and a wholesale price of $8.16. This little branch of, what is that? Maybe laurel leaves? I don't know. You can make it be whatever you want. Not maple leaves, because those are very distinctive, but it could be all kinds of leaves. Anyway, it's a branch with leaves, a vine. Cup and peg down on the bottom as a dangle, and the bale is in the back there. You can see that, right? Simple bale. Probably good for a 3 or 4 millimeter clasp to get through there. Pretty good size chain, will fit. Here's one that I just love. This one. It's kind of a little over the top blingy, but if you like that kind of thing like I do, you can't go wrong. MTP 704 with a retail price of $17.68 and a wholesale price of $11.05. And right, it's just a crown, a very big, gorgeous, bejeweled queen's crown. Right, it's right, just solid on the back, right, opening, right, you can see that. So the pattern is only like half of a crown, right? So you're looking at this on the way that you would see it, right? You can just glue whatever to the underside of that. Yeah. Our next item, LJ 642 with a retail price of $12.10 and a wholesale price of $9.07. And that's just a lovely kind of flourish, very elegant, curvy flourish pattern thing with that cubic zirconias and that faux mill grain on the sides. So that's kind of like a faux bead and bright cut, even though it's not quite that actual thing. Those are CZs are probably cast in place, so or they might be set after the fact. You can never tell. I guess it just depends on the design. Lovely scalloped cap there, right down at the bottom, and the bail, pretty good size bail. Again, if you have a clasp that's up to probably 5 millimeters, maybe 6 millimeters wide, you can get that through there, or the ring at the other end. Can't go wrong. Very lovely, very elegant. LJ726 with a retail price of $12.61 and a wholesale price of $10.09. And that's just a nice tall cap with a regular standard V bail at the top of that. I don't know, I like that. I don't know, for some reason it reminds me of like a wizard's hat. I mean, it's not, right? Wizard's hats are, because all the wizards I know don't have hats exactly like that, right? Oh boy, whatever. And it's a nice big tall cap with kind of like a scalloped bottom and the little peg to glue whatever you want to. Very lovely. That's kind of a mood, as they say. MTP 705 with a retail price of $16.64 and a wholesale price of $10.40. This is another kind of a gorgeous, I don't know, classic, elegant clasp. These two little intertwined sections where one kind of goes behind and then splits out. I don't know, it's just kind of a nice, not quite Art Deco, although it gives me Art Deco vibes. Right? Same kind of a bail. Kind of lovely, kind of can't go wrong. Here's a cool one. LJ 696 with a retail price of $23.83 and a wholesale price of $15.89. And it's just a lovely big wide tube, right? Tube bail, I guess. And it's got kind of a star pattern carved into there. This is really looks like actual bead and bright cut. It's not. It's obviously cast this way, but it gives you that definite bead and bright cut sort of design, sort of look, right? Very cool. Little scalloped cap down on the bottom, and of course, a little cubic zirconia set in that bead and bright cut area. Again, I keep calling it that, bead and bright cut, but it's not actually, they're not actually carved by hand, right? These are all cast that way. So, faux bead and bright cut, we'll call it. Here's another one that's kind of like a smaller spiritual cousin of this great big tall one. Probably as tall. MTP 149 with a retail price of $6.85 and a wholesale price of $5.49. Is that right? $6.85, $5.49. Right, it's got that standard little bail down at the top. Right, just very simple little bail, and the nice tall cap that flares out with the little post down in the bottom. That got bent. Oh well. There you go. That's centered now. Again, you know, depending on the size of the pearl or whatever, you know, if you don't need it to be quite so tall, you can cut those down. There's a squat version of almost, actually, it's not even close to the same thing. It's pretty close. It's just a basic cap, like a bell cap. MTP 196 with a retail price of $9.75. and a wholesale price of $5.85. This is all one piece, right? It's all, the bail is connected, integrated into the design of the bail. It's bent. Has that cup and peg cone cap. Can't go wrong. Very cute. Here we have a, you know what, I'm going to pull one out of the bag and show you this, because anytime there's something that moves, you kind of want to see it move. This is LJ606 with a retail price of $14.99 and a wholesale price of $9.98, and it's kind of that, what they like, necklace enhancer, right, what they call that, where you can connect that to your chain or whatever and then snap that closed, doink, and that just locks closed very securely. And there's that cup and peg on the bottom. It's not a separate dangle, right? So it's just it's kind of like a hyped up version of that, only instead of having a bail at the top, it's got that lovely big necklace clasp that you can, I guess, you know, depending if you have a beaded necklace that you want to be able to have something, you know, dangled from there. Maybe you have a couple different color scheme versions of the same necklace. You could just, you know, pop this off and put it on the other necklace, and I don't know, you can just keep using it on every necklace you own, just changing it around day by day. Here's another spiritual cousin of that crown that we did at the other one. Now, the first one we did way back when, right, that was only half the thing, right? The back half was open. This one is in case you're, you know, you really want blingy thing. You know, I've seen somebody use these. They cut the bail off and they use this on ear wires. So it was the bottom of an earring. It was quite elegant. It was a very cool, big funky ear wire shape too. So it hung a little bit quite a ways below the lobe. I don't know. I thought it was pretty elegant looking. And she had a couple of pearls on there. They just looked gorgeous. Another crown with cubic zirconias in there and a cup and peg, right? Kind of simple, well, not simple, kind of elegant, kind of cool. Can't go wrong. MTP 709 with a retail price of $17.04 and a wholesale price of $10.66. It was a very good year, 1066. Battle of Hastings, right? Isn't that right? I feel like, no. Yeah. Magna Carta and all that, right? Where our system of laws came from. MTP 146 with a retail price of $7.80 and a wholesale price of $6.24. You always know that when you watch a live stream, you're going to get some snippets of some crazy pop culture or, you know, history. 1066. Right, so another, just a bigger version of that other cap, plain, you know, V bail with a nice big round cap. There's two sections on that cap, right? So segmented cap, I guess, if you want to be technical about it. The opening on the bottom of that cap is probably 6 or 7 millimeters, so you can put a pearl, I don't know, at least that small, 6, I think probably 8 millimeter pearl would look good on here, but you could go as big as, oh man, 12? Sure, why not? 12, 14 millimeters? Easy. You know, you just end up with that kind of a dimple. Oops, that kind of dimple on the top of the thing. But I think, man, never mind, go bigger. 20 millimeters. Huge. Spend $10,000 on a Tahitian pearl and then put a $7 silver finding on it. We can make you one in gold. We can do that. This is one thing, maybe I don't mention that often enough, right? You know, any of these things, you know, if you like something, you know, an element of something, but you want it on something else, man, we could just customize that, do whatever. And, you know, all of the production findings that we have here, well, we have, you know, all these bales are all in sterling silver that I'm showing you today, but we also have some in gold, which I did the gold in a previous live stream, but, you know, I don't know, maybe I could pull some out again. We have a bunch more. You know what? I will have to do at the end of the bales. I'm going to have to do a live stream event just on the gold findings, because we have a bunch more gold settings, basket settings in a couple different shapes, and a bunch of rings in 14 karat yellow gold and 14 karat white gold. Anyway, neither here nor there. LJ 620 with a retail price of $7.33 and a wholesale price of $4.07. And this is just a lovely, floral sort of, can I see that? Let me turn it upside down, right? So there's the cap, the underside of the cap. Very gorgeous. And I love that. I don't know. For some reason, I'm a sucker for if you have like a square shape and you dome that onto a round piece. I always loved making caps that were square. Like this. Basically a square flower. Anyway, it's all integrated. The bail's integrated into the design, so there's no, it's not going to be extra movement there. And a nice big tall peg to glue onto. And, this, he could glue any size pearl onto that. Maybe the width of the cap there that I'm looking at, probably 5 millimeters wide. So anything 5 millimeters or bigger would be beautiful on that. And here is the tiniest version of that regular cup and peg, LJ 733, with a retail price of $1.78 and a wholesale price of $1.25 per piece. And just a standard V bail with a little plain cap, probably a 4 millimeter cap, and a little, for that cup and peg. Right? I don't think this needs any more explanation. I could wax poetic all day long about it. I really couldn't, but I could pretend. LJ 839 with a retail price of $2.65 and a wholesale price of $1.77. And this is just a loop on the cap, right? There's no bail. And the cap, let me just turn this so you can see the underside of the cap. Right? A little pentagonal flower. And, this one, just looking at this, is kind of badly tarnished. But let me just pull one out of the bag so you can see. Right, they're nice and antiqued silver, very gorgeous. With that's a pretty good sized peg too, that you can glue onto whatever you want. So they're nice and shiny when you get them. They won't be. These are just because they've been on the trays for years, so people have messed with them at trade shows and stuff. We're getting there. Here's a couple of blingy ones, coming up to the end. And the last one I'm going to show you is really cool. Here's a LJ 282 with a retail price of $9.20 and a wholesale price of $6.45. These little dual hearts, one pierced and empty, and the other filled with diamonds. I don't know, with cubic. They're not diamonds. They're cubic zirconias. I don't know. To me, this tells not a happy story. But, they're stylized, so. Why are you empty? Right. A nice big wide frame for the chain to go through. And a great big tall cup and peg. Very simple peg. Oh, these with the fluting, right? Or they're kind of like twisted, looks like. You could, if the hole is the right size, you could screw, the pearl onto there, but you got to use glue. Don't count on that holding your pearl in there or your stone or whatever. You got to use glue. Really, the reason for that spiral is like little places for the glue or the epoxy to have some space there, because if it's just a perfectly smooth peg and a perfectly smooth hole, when you and if the hole is the same size as the peg, when you put the peg in, all the glue spills out. So you gotta have a little bit of a gap there, and that's what that spiral is for. I know, you're learning something new every day. People think, wait a minute, isn't that just to screw the pearl onto? Well, yes and no. More no than yes, but yes, sure, why not? But no. LJ 281 with a retail price of $9.59 and a wholesale price of $5.99. Say, I'm the middle child. I was one of those people who, you amuse yourself, right? I think I'm the funniest person I know. There's a lovely, the bail is kind of cool, kind of like a, I don't know, a couple of flourishes kind of thing, with some trios of cubic zirconias, and those are a little bigger than usual accent stones. Those are probably 3mm stones. And a cup and peg down on the bottom of that. How can you say no? Ugh, love it. Here's another one that I won't take out of the bag because it's I know it looks like one of those kinds that hinge open, that you would imagine that there would be a hinge here and that this would pop open, and you know, maybe there's a design where we had that intention, but I think it ends up just adding too much cost. And, you know, it's a law of diminishing returns, right? Like, how often do you want to be able to change this? This is just a lovely teardrop kind of bail with a row of cubic zirconias down the top and the nice big wide cap. Now, the peg doesn't extend too far past that cap, so you're going to have to get a pearl or a stone that's about that size, looking at maybe 6-7 millimeters wide. That's MTP 500. Oops. You get in the frame here. Retail $16.61 at a wholesale price of $10.39. We've got another kind of simple, gorgeous, I don't know, design pattern flourish things with a row of cubic zirconias in there, because everybody, you need a little bling now and then. LJ 289 with a retail price of $7.41 and a wholesale price of $4.97. The bail, you know, sticks out the back. This is just a lovely, simple pattern. I don't know, kind of elegant, kind of cool, with a little cup and peg. Nice round cup, little 4mm cup. We have a couple of dragonfly inspired ones, and we're getting close to the end now. MTP 702 with a retail price of $15.60 and a wholesale price of $9.75. And I don't know, what do you say about this? It's just dragonfly, right? Dragonflies are super popular. Lovely bail, a little bit thicker domed bail, right? A little heavier one. There's some cubic zirconias in the dragonfly's wings set in there, and the little cup and peg dangling off the bottom. Very sweet, very cute. And here's another one. Another dragonfly-ish thing. There's a pair of dragonflies. Right? Or, I don't know, maybe they're leaves. They look like dragonflies to me. I'm going to go with dragonflies. Pair of dragonflies with cubic zirconias in the wings again. Very stylized ones. MTP 707 with a retail price of $17.68 and a wholesale price of $11.05. And it's got a good sized bail in the back for a good, I don't know, 4 or 5 millimeter wide clasp. Can get through there very easily. Let me just turn this around. Whoops. Right. And the you know what, this is the last one. The last one, and I'm gonna show you this, is what it looks like when it's done. That's cinched through there, right? So there's a pearl in there, there's a lovely key, and the little bail at the top. MTP 479 with a retail price of $23.28 and a wholesale price of $13.98. Now, the reason why I wanted to show you this, because it's two parts, right? So you've got the bottom of the key that has that cup and peg. I don't know if you can see the peg in there, right? You can see that. And then the top cap with the bail on there. There's a row of cubic zirconias in there, almost like a halo of cubic zirconias around the top. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. There you go. And that gets glued there, and that just, you know, glues together and holds onto the piece at the top and the bottom, and that's it. Now, probably my guess is that unless, well, actually, now that I'm looking at it, that's probably good size for the size pearl that fits in here. Again, you may need to trim down the length of that peg in there, but this is the basic effect that you're going for when you're done, right? Who doesn't love that? I mean, that's just so cute. Super, super cute. Anyway, And that's the last one for today. Let me move this around. Doing. Where am I? I'm doing good. Doing good. 11:08. That's like 40 minutes. Getting them down under an hour, which is my ideal, which is good. We're going to continue on next week with some more bales. And we did discover something. I don't know what happened. It was an oversight, but it's been an oversight that I don't know why we haven't noticed it before. But there's probably like 50 bales, 50 or so, that are not on the website. That we're doing. Like I'm already taking pictures. I'll be taking pictures all this week, and then we'll have them edited, and then we'll get them up on the website. Hopefully by, the next couple of weeks, they'll all be up in there. And we're getting close to the point that I dreamt about when I first started working here years ago, almost 4 years ago, that to get every product, because every shipment that comes in, there's always new stuff, because, fashion changes, people say taste change, things come in and out, and we try not to make too many of any one thing lest we get stuck with them, forever. That's why, like anything with the alphabet, we have some alphabet beads that I knew when we got them in that it's not going to work. Because I used to own a retail store, a retail bead store for years and years, 20-something years. And every section of letter beads, we had the little check glass round white letter beads that you see in all the baby bracelets, right? Those, we had little pewter squares with letters on them, I think. And no matter what, you're always going to end up with some letter Y's or letter X's, letter K's, you're going to end up with a bunch of those left over, and because nobody will sell you a set of those things with like one letter K, or two letter Z's. Actually, Z's are not a problem. What was X's were a problem, K's were a problem. Anyway, if you play Scrabble, the letters, right? That you never get used. Anyway, so I forget what my point was. Right, so there's always new things, and it's always kind of an imperative, to get through all of the new products, get them photographed, get them up on the thing. Do we sell 22 square wire also? Yes, 22 gauge square wire, absolutely. It's on the website. I think if you just look under, there's wire and sheets, and then there's a thing for round wire, for square wire, for half round wire. And in the square wire, just look it up, 22 gauge. I think it goes, square wire we have as big as like 14 gauge, I think is the biggest square wire. I might be, no, I think that's right, yeah. 16, it's either 16 or 14 is the biggest wire we have, and the square I think goes to, you're really welcome, Bobby. Yeah, no problem. If you happen to order any of that today, let us know and we'll refund your shipping, as long as it's regular, mail shipping. Oh, that was right. Somebody was asking about the free shipping, how that works, kind of thing. And the free shipping, we kind of, it's for retail priced orders that are generally under $100, only because if it's more than that, we always recommend putting tracking and insurance on your package, which is not available for regular mail, so we would have to charge you for that. Unless you are willing to waive, your right to make a claim if in the event of loss or damage during shipping, then we'll ship it regular mail for you. I don't like doing it because with regular mail, and Canada Post is not so, it's worse. For U.S. Postal Service, the regular first class parcel post is tracking, there's tracking included in that, right? And it's like a third of the price of the Canada Post the same, service, which blows my mind every day. But don't get me started on Canada Post, because I'm gonna end up making this go over an hour. So what was my point? Oh yeah, the thing about the free shipping. Yeah, we're happy to ship it. Free shipping if you place your order today. But again, that's it doesn't include any other discounts. If you have a a club discount or any of those things. What else? No, I guess that's it. We will continue next week with more bales. If you have any other questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, please let us know. We're always here for you. We're use us as a service. We're a resource for you to use. I personally owned a retail bead shop and a jewelry school for 20-something years. So there isn't any jewelry related question that I haven't heard before. And the only dumb question is the one that you don't ask. Right? So let's hear it. It doesn't even have to be related to our products. If you have a question about fabrication, again, we're a resource. Please use us. Right. So in the meantime, take care of yourself. Take care of the planet. Take care of your mental health. Keep making stuff. Keep those creative juices flowing. Even if you don't feel like it, you got to make something every day to keep those synapses firing, keep those new pathways brewing in your mind, in your brain, stave off Alzheimer's or whatever. The more you know, the more you learn. You always learn new things. All right. Take care of yourself, take care of the planet, take care of your mental health, and we will see you next week. Alrighty, bye-bye.